Okay, first I'll go to my private virtual machine. I'll try to connect this virtual machine, connect. So first one, listen, first one, session manager, right? We aren't able to connect your instance. Common reasons for this include SSM agent installed on your device. Okay, that might be an issue. Second, the required IAM instance profile. Okay, if we want to use this service, this resource, session manager, we require another permission. That is called SSM managed instance code. Okay, see how you accessed S3 bucket. S3 full access, right? If you want to access this service or this resource, you require SSM managed instance code. That is another role. We have to attach that role. Okay, what I will do is I'll go to my IAM service, then I will create a one more role. So please listen, I'll create a one more role. Create a role. Select AWS service. I'm creating a role for EC2 instance. Okay, I'll select my EC2 instance. So next, then I will search SSM managed instance code. You have to select SSM managed instance code, and you will be able to find one role over here, Amazon SSM managed instance code. Right. So we have to select this role, then we have to attach. Next. So I will create a role name. For example, interface endpoint. That's fine. Interface endpoint. SSM role. That's enough. Come down, then create a role. So the first step is we need to create a role. What role? SSM managed instance code. So whenever you want to communicate with any other service, permission, that is a mandatory. If you don't have a permission, you cannot access. Okay, so successfully created a role. I'll go to my virtual machine. So how to attach a permission or role? Okay, instance, instance, action, security, modify AM role. Then I have to attach that role. What is the role name? Interface endpoint SSM role, right? I will select this role, then I will update. We can select our private virtual machine, click action, security group, modify AM role. We can click over here, automatically it will go to IAM. See, if you click over here, automatically it will go to IAM service. Or else directly you can go to IAM service, you can create, no issue. So as per your convenience, you can do that. Okay. Next, I'll successfully attach update IAM role. If you click this private, come down, and you can see that interface endpoint SSM role. Interface endpoint SSM role. Fine. So next, I'll create a interface endpoint. Okay. See, till now I'm not able to access connect. You can see that session manager I'm not able to connect. So it still is in progressing, but I'm not able to connect. Right. So to connect this instance, I'll go to my VPC. So let me go to VPC, gateway endpoint. I'll do one thing. I'll go to VPC settings. Let me just enable DNS hostname. That's mandatory. Okay, I'll go to my endpoint. We have to go to endpoint. Then create endpoint. Then here I will select SSM endpoint. Come down. So we have to select what? SSM. See, previously we were selecting S3. Now we have to select SSM. Okay. So we have SSM agent, we have SSM contact, we have a SSM incident, we have SSM message, right? So first we have to create this endpoint SSM. Then we will create this SSM message. So this is for communication, and this is for SSM. We have to create two endpoints. One is for SSM, another one is for communication. For example, I want to communicate with my server, right? Continuously I want to communicate. So that's what I have to create two endpoints. I will select this SSM first. Then I will select SSM. So beneath we have to select our VPC, gateway point. Come down. So we have to select our subnet. I'll select my subnet name is pub subnet. So I'm not going to select pub subnet. I'll select my private subnet. So then come down. Then we have to select a security group. So I'll select my default security group. Come down. Then I will create an endpoint. So successfully created an endpoint. Okay, let's wait. I'll create one more endpoint, message. SSM2 message. Select SSM. So we have to select this message. Okay, message endpoint. So select this endpoint. Select your VPC gateway endpoint. Come down. Select your private instance. I will select my private instance. And one more thing, if possible, you can just click additional settings, and we have to enable this enable DNS name. Okay, so by default it will be enabled, but if it is not enabled, you have to check, because while we communicating through interface endpoint, so it will take the DNS name, private DNS name. But when we communicating through gateway endpoint, that will take private IP address. So gateway endpoint, private IP address, and interface endpoint, private DNS name. Okay, I will give the comparison. Okay, no need to write as of now. I'll give the comparison table. So then come down. Then I'll select my private instance. I successfully selected my private subnet. Come down. I have to select one security group. Come down. Then create endpoint. That's it. So successfully I created two endpoints. You can see over here SSM endpoint, SSM2 message endpoint. So I'll go to my EC2 console. So I'll go to my private instance. Let me enable all security group. So we can get rid of errors. That's what. I'll go to inbound rule. Let me select all traffic. Server. Okay. So now I'll go to my EC2 instance. I will reboot my instance first. I'll go to my private. Not stop instance. We have a reboot instance. In the sense we can restart our instance once again. Reboot. So now it started rebooting. So it will take 1 to 2 minutes to reboot. Then we'll try to connect our session manager. See, so this is my private instance. You can see that I don't have any public IP address. I cannot connect this instance directly, but even I'll try to connect by using session manager. Okay. So let's wait. So once it come up, we'll be able to find one connect option over here. Then we can try to connect our server without any other interception. So let's wait. Okay, it's pending. Okay, update in progress. We have to wait. So once it completes, then we will be able to access. Wait. So now it's active. Security groups 998. Okay. So we should wait. Not only troubleshooting. So for example, if you want to connect to your organization network, okay, without any public IP address exposure, then you can use SSM manager. So serial console we using for the troubleshooting. Serial console. Serial console. So we have an option over here, serial console. We can use the serial console to connect that. Wait. It will take 2 to 3 minutes maybe. അങ്ങനെ കണക്ട് ചെയ്യാം. അത് സിമ്പിളാണ്. വേറെ കുറെ കമാൻഡ് ഒക്കെ അടിക്കാണ്ട്, എൻ പോയിന്റ് യു ആറിലൊക്കെ അടിക്കാണ്ട്, അങ്ങനെ കാണിക്കാൻ പറ്റില്ല. എൻ പോയിന്റ് യു ആറിൽ കൊടുക്കണ്ട, അതല്ല ഹോസ്റ്റ് ഒന്നും കൊടുക്കണ്ട. മൈനസ് എൻ പോയിന്റ് മൈനസ് യു ആർ എൽ, ദെൻ എൻ പോയിന്റ് യു ആറിൽ കൊടുക്കണം. അതിന് മുമ്പ് ഒരു ബക്കറ്റ് നല്ല സ്ലാഷ് ഇടണം, പിന്നെ സ്പേസ് ഇട്ടിട്ട് മൈനസ് റീജിയൻ സ്പെസിഫൈ ചെയ്യണം. ആ ഡി എൻ എസ് നെയിം സപ്പോർട്ട് ആവില്ല S3ക്ക്, പ്രൈവറ്റ് DNS. അതുകൊണ്ടാണ് അങ്ങനെ. ഒരു മിനിറ്റ് ഞാൻ അതും ചെക്ക് ചെയ്യട്ടെ. Wait. ഒറ്റ മതി സാധനം റീബൂട്ട് ചെയ്യില്ല. പ്രശ്നം വേണ്ടി ഇല്ലേ എല്ലാം കിട്ടും. ഒറ്റന്ന് SSM മാനേജർ ഇൻസ്റ്റൻസ് കോഡ് മാനേജ് ചെയ്യാൻ വേണ്ടിയിട്ട് SSM അത് മാത്രം, വേറെ ഒന്നും വേണ്ട. അത് കണക്ട് ചെയ്യുന്നത് മാത്രം മതി. Let me check whether the server is enabled or not. Like VPC endpoint. Okay, so now it took around 5 to 6 minutes. Okay, now you can see that we are able to access session manager. Please listen, please. See, if I go to my instance, you will be able to find this is my private instance. I don't have any private IP address. Please listen, please. Okay, see, if I go to my instance, this is my public instance. I have a public IP address. Directly I can connect my instance, right? So this is my private instance. I don't have any public IP address. But if I click connect, I'll be have an option session manager. See, I cannot connect by using EC2 instance connect because I don't have public IP address. But I can connect by using session manager. Connect. So I'll be able to connect my instance by using AWS private link. So let's wait. See, successfully I connected my virtual machine. See, if I go to sudo su, I'll become root sudo su cd then slash. Okay. So now you can see that now I'm in a root directory. So if I want, I can create a directory over here. I'll show you that. So this is my server, private server 19. I opened through my Gempost, right? So I will create a file over here. So where is my directory? So now I am home EC2 user. I will create a file over here, Ashiq. So file name is, okay. I'll create a touch. I'll create 100 files. Okay, 100 files I will create. I'll create SSM. I'll create this file. 1 to 100. You can see that I created 100 files at a time, right? I'll go to my console, ls. Okay, now I'm in a home directory. First I have to go to where? Home, EC2 minus user, cd, home, EC2 minus user, ls. You can see that 100 files over here. See, I connected my server by using private IP address. I don't have any public IP address. I did not need to use any gem host or bastion host. So what I done over here, I created one endpoint on my subnet. Then I connected to my virtual machine by using AWS private key. Okay. So now you can write it down the difference between gateway endpoint and as well as interface endpoint. We have to understand the difference and where we should use this. Okay. You understood, right? So if you want, I can show you how we can connect our S3 as well. S3 by using interface endpoint. Okay. So just write it down. I'll keep desktop batches 1 o'clock. No.
Doesn't charge us for this.
Exactly. We have to see whatever the services we using, so we should pay for that. Okay. For instance, actually, if you're keeping the service over there, they will not charge. But if you're doing any data transfer, for example, egress, ingress, right? So at that time they will transfer. For example, if you're creating a VPN, you would not be charged. But if you're doing any transaction between this VPN, then you'll be charged. So that's it. Okay. So please write it down. The first one, NACL, after NACL. Okay, VPC endpoint. So are you able to see this? VPC endpoint. So the first one is a gateway endpoint. Then we have interface endpoint. So gateway endpoint, so we'll deploy inside a VPC. Please write it down. I'll just make it. Okay. So gateway endpoint, so that actually we deploy inside a VPC. Okay, inside a VPC. But interface endpoint, actually we deploy inside a subnet, not inside a VPC. Because while we creating endpoint, in the gateway endpoint, actually we selected our route table, right? Route table, right? But when we created interface endpoint, we selected subnet only. So that is creating subnet, and this is creating in a VPC. Second one, only support gateway endpoint, only support S3 storage services and DynamoDB database. Note it down. Gateway endpoint, that is only support S3 and as well as DynamoDB. If you want to connect SSM with the gateway endpoint, that is not possible because gateway endpoint that is not supporting SSM. Okay. So when it comes to these interface endpoint, support most of the services including S3 DynamoDB. So you can connect every services including S3 DynamoDB. You can connect load balancer, you can connect SSM manager, and you can connect any services by using interface endpoint. Okay. Then next point, use gateway to communicate. So gateway endpoint, that is using gateway. Okay, gateway. What is a gateway? So that's the entry and exit point of a data. That's a gateway, right? So gateway endpoint, that is using gateway to communicate. But when it comes to interface endpoint, that is using ENI, Elastic Network Interface Card. Okay, Elastic Network Interfaces Card is using to communicate. Note it down, it's very important because most of the interview they will ask what is a NACL, what is a security group, what is the gateway endpoint, what is the interface endpoint. Okay, so it's necessary to understand what is the difference between these two. So next point, gateway endpoint, that is using private IP address. Please note it down. Gateway endpoint, that is using private IP address. When it comes to interface endpoint, that is using private DNS. Private DNS. So every server will be have a public IP address and private IP address. Same as public DNS and private DNS. Okay, domain name system. So next point, gateway endpoint, it won't use security group. Okay, we cannot attach security group for gateway endpoint. But when it comes to interface endpoint, we can use security group. Okay, we can give so this IP address, for example, 000 has to access my service. Then I can create a rule in security group. But when it comes to my interface endpoint, so I have we have an option to use security group. Okay. So last point. So can use IAM policy to restrict access. Same as interface endpoint also we can use IAM policy to restrict access. So one more point is there. So gateway endpoint, that is a free. That's a free. We will not be charged when we using gateway endpoint, because actually we have only two services on it. One is S3, another one is DynamoDB. Okay. So but when it comes to interface endpoint, we will be charged. Okay. So they have some threshold value. They have some amount. Actually, we have to pay that. Okay, it's based upon the egress value, like what is the egress and ingress communication happening. So we have to pay. So this is absolutely free, but this is not free. Okay. Okay, what are the common differences? Can anyone please repeat? One year.
Gateway free.
Gateway free. Next, one year. Or year exam, okay, for person. But as a parliament, IAM ports we can attach with both endpoint and interface, right? Only one point. One difference. See, gateway endpoint, as the name says, gateway endpoint using gateway. Interface endpoint using interface. Very simple, right? If anybody, for example, if you're getting any interview and they're asking what is the gateway and what is the interface, difference. Simply you can tell this example, because name itself actually we can give an example, right? Okay, then.
VPC endpoint
security group using, and when it comes to gateway we cannot use. Private IP address where? Gateway, and when it comes to interface, private DNS. Okay. Anyway, it's using private address. Okay. So that's what actually I'm able to communicate with my server now. Right? Okay.
Gateway deployed in
VPC inside a VPC. Inside a subnet. Okay. Or a different subnet.
Only support S3.
So gateway, that is only supporting S3 and DynamoDB. But when it comes to interface and so on, so that will support most of the all services. Okay, including DynamoDB, S3. I hope you got what is the difference between gateway endpoint and interface endpoint, right?
Yeah.
Right? Okay, fine. So let me just close this window.